All right, welcome back here to the Gill Connections Podcast. So humble to be your host, Mike Cunningham, National Business Development Manager for Gill, and better known as the podcast guy, the Twitter guy. I don't know, just as long as you know how to get a hold of me, that's all I really care about. I don't care what you call me, just call me, right? But I am so humbled, as always. If you're a regular listener, you hear me say this every single week, and it stands true. Always humbled that you'd press play with us today to hear about today's guest. Do have to remind you, this is episode 360 something. Well, that means there's 360 something amazing past guests here in our library. Highly recommend go through that app that you're using now if you're on YouTube and just scroll back and see other great, amazing men and women who choose to be track and field coaches. And if you know what Twitch is, I know it's still unique. Not everybody knows Twitch, but if you check out twitch.tv/Gill Athletics, we've got a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week channel where we run all of these podcasts just back to back to back. So, if you have insomnia and you, wake at 2 in the morning, you can go listen to my voice a little bit. That'll put you to sleep. I promise that. But will not put you to sleep is today's guest. I'm excited to introduce from over in the Spokane Valley area. I've been there a few times. It's amazing. He's at Central Valley High School out there. Help me welcome the wise, the wonderful Mr. Alan Wardsworth. Alan, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the show.
Good, good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, man. This is, I get to do a lot of cool things in my job. Let's put that out there real first. It's true. But this is certainly I don't even want to, maybe if you call it a perk of the job. I mean, I get to talk to amazing men and women who every one of you guys, and Alan, we're going to find out from you. I guarantee it could have gone on to do some amazing things, cure cancer for crying out loud. And yet you guys choose to be track and field coaches. And here at Gill, we couldn't have a company without you choosing that. Me personally, I couldn't take care of my family and do the things that I get to do without that. So I'm
Sure.
just so blessed to be able to do something like this. You're in Spokane Valley, man. I've been there a few times.
Yes.
I got to do the podium down there
Oh, yeah. The
in
podium. It's great.
yeah, so I got to visit a few times and working with them, and they were amazing. It's a pretty area. It's kind of really beautiful, actually.
Yeah. And, most people I talk to, they have this vision that Spokane is like Seattle. So I always get the question of how much does it rain here?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, on the west side of it, it's all desert. South is the Palouse. WSU is down there.
Mm-hmm.
On the east side is Idaho, Coeur
Mm-hmm.
d'Alene,
Mm-hmm.
75 lakes within 75 miles.
Is that right? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Oh.
So very, very cool area. Have
You know,
all the different seasons. Great for track.
Minnesota hogs that title of all the 10,000 lakes. You get 75 lakes and 75. That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Uh, I learned a little bit more about the landscape of Washington. I had to go visit Spokane for some pre-work on the podium, and I couldn't find a plane ticket. It was in a pretty short amount of time, like within 7-10 days.
Oh,
But I
sure.
couldn't find a plane ticket for less than 1,500. I mean, I tried
Oh,
all the
yeah.
tricks, major airports, all that stuff. Couldn't find it, but I could find one into Seattle for like
Yes.
400. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man. And I Google mapped it. I was like, oh man, Seattle to Spokane. That's a haul. I
It
was like, but
it's
man, to
it is.
save over $1,000, I
Yeah.
think
Yep.
I'm gonna have to do that. And so I did.
Yeah.
Beautiful ride, but oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it took forever. It felt
Yeah.
forever, that's
Oh,
for sure.
yeah. Yeah. And most of our flights out of here go to Seattle or Portland.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was paying like an extra $1,000 to do the hopper from Seattle to Spokane. Exactly.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I did it, but I'm glad I don't have to do that very often.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Alan, excited to learn more about you. You've done a lot of cool things in this sport, including one of the things that I um, encourage, root on more of our coaches to do. You wrote a book, my friend. I'd love for our
I
track
did.
coaches to write more books. I think there needs to be more books written on our track coach. I can go find books on Coach Wood and Coach K. I assume there's one with Coach Calipari, and all those guys deserve it for sure. That's great. I can't go find a book on in your area, Pat Tyson. That guy deserves a book.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's some around Dellinger and Bowerman, of course, because of Nike
Yeah.
and all that. But man, there's so many amazing coaches that we've had. Brooks Johnson deserves a book. Good
Uh-huh.
Lord, that man's life was amazing. So I love books about our coaches, and I love our coaches writing books. And so we'll learn more about that at the appropriate time in your journey. But let's get started, my friend. Alan, assuming you were an athlete, Now, we know what assuming does to
Sure.
each other. And we've learned that you certainly don't have to be an athlete to be a great coach. Where in the world does track and field start for you?
Well, my dad was in the military,
Hmm.
so we traveled around a lot. I was born in London. We lived for a time at the American Embassy in Belgrade, and then eventually moved to Oregon.
Hmm.
And my dad was stationed in the ROTC department at Oregon State University,
Oh, is that right? What
uh,
what branch?
in the Air Force.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that'd be to give away my age, that'd be in the early 70s or so.
Hmm.
And the one thing I always remember about Oregon State was I think Dick Fosbury was still a high jumper because I think he won the gold medal pretty early in his college career.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I saw it on the news or something, but they had six high jump pits and they had one for every varsity athlete. And that just sticks out in my brain. And I remember driving around campus and seeing all these red high jump pits sitting all over the place. And
Really?
yeah, and I thought, oh wow, that's really cool.
I mean,
So,
as a guy whose livelihood is based on how many high jump hits a school
oh
orders, I
yeah,
think even I
yeah.
would be like, do you really need six? Like that feels excessive. I've sold some
Yeah.
crazy things before. I've never had a school buy six high jump
Yeah,
pits, but
yeah. And I
wow.
feel like I probably saw it on the news or there was something about Fosbury on there. And then driving, my dad was on campus every day and it was like, oh yeah, there's all the high jump pits. Yeah, very cool.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
So,
Is that where your track picked in for you, or were you a track fan
well,
before that?
no, not really. I mean, you would think with Prefontaine being from Oregon,
Yeah.
Dick Fosbury right there. I did all the little kid sports back then.
Hmm.
The funny story is my brother and I used to just terrorize Gill Coliseum, run all over the place. And down in the basement was uh, the coaches, D. Andrus, I think was his name, the old football coach, the Great Pumpkin, and all these great coaches would be down there smoking their stogies, and we would run around. There'd be like a cloud of smoke above our heads, and
Hmm.
at some point, uh, we found out that the world record for paper airplanes was set in Gill Coliseum.
Really?
And yeah, so we got a big pile of like a ream of paper. We went into the gym and we just started chucking these paper airplanes like nothing you've ever seen. And then we heard basketballs bouncing. And
Mhm.
I stopped and I looked around and it was like it snowed. The floor was completely covered with paper
Oh
airplanes.
my.
And the varsity team was coming into practice. Some poor graduate assistant must have gotten us a lot of trouble. But my brother and I snuck out of there. It was that's always what I remember about Gill Coliseum. I saw
That's
Bill
awesome.
Walton lose to Oregon State there, so that was pretty exciting. At that period of time. So
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
cool.
Hmm.
My dad, after he retired from the Air Force, he got a teaching degree, and his first job was in Nyssa, Oregon.
Hmm.
And Nyssa is on the extreme east side of the state,
Okay.
absolutely in the desert. If you're familiar where Boise is, basically
Hmm.
go towards Oregon, and there it is.
Okay.
And so we moved all of a sudden to the other side of the state. I mean, we went from the Willamette Valley, rolling
Mm.
hills, grass fields, to Nyssa. The only thing that's green in Nyssa is where it's flood irrigated. And the Snake River runs right next to it. But it's more like the Mississippi. It's slow and it's brown. And so anyhow, that's where we showed up. My dad got the job. We moved in between us moving over there. The high school burned to the ground.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and when I arrived, the only thing that was left was a steel pole standing up in the middle of this big pile. It was still smoking. And somehow
Wow.
they got together and they moved the high school kids. So I'd been going into junior high. The high school kids were moved into the junior high building. The junior high kids were moved in part of the
Okay.
grade school, and across the street there was like an old Safeway. So they either rented it or bought it, I don't know what,
Yeah.
converted that into 4 or 5 classrooms. And then there was no gym because that also went up in the flames. So the Mormon church and the Lutheran church had gyms. So it was, and the grade school had a gym. So that's kind of how
Right.
sports went. Yeah. So
Wow. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
imagine, if a house burns down, God forbid, a family can move into a hotel or a family's house or neighbor's house. There's 2 to 6 people to displace. A whole high school burns
Yes,
down.
yes, yeah.
It,
And
it's
it's
there aren't that many other schools in the area that you can
no,
take these
no.
kids. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
and it was, it was at that time, Oregon had 3 divisions, one, two, and three. And so it was a double A school, about 450 kids in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Like you say, that's a large chunk
Wow.
of kids to kind of move around. And they got it done pretty quickly
Hmm.
because we rolled right into football and things didn't really change. I think it just
Wow.
kind of went on as normal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is amazing. It's one of those things where I can't even fathom that would
I,
happen. Yeah.
yeah. And having, I'm a retired teacher, but being a teacher, my, every time we do a fire drill, my kids are like, oh, this is a brick building. It's not going to burn down. And I'm like, well, I got a story for you.
Yeah, exactly. Sit down, kids. Let me tell you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what sports are we doing in high school?
Yeah, so I went out for football.
Hmm.
That was an absolute disaster, I guess. Uh, I I was probably 6'1", 140 pounds,
Hmm.
and I remember we had like 5 days where we couldn't hit anybody, just practicing.
Hmm.
And then on that last day, we got to put pads on. Everybody was super excited. Last play of our scrimmage, the coach told me, "I want you to run 10 yards straight ahead, turn right, jump up as high as you can, catch the football."
Oh boy.
And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, yes, sir. Got
great,
it.
great." And so that's what I did. And what met me was one of my teammates, Efren
Um,
Ramirez, who was a
you remember his name?
oh, I do. Yeah, he was a little kid in a man's body. So he hit me so hard. And then my teammate from behind me also hit me. So I got
Oh,
sandwiched and I
dude.
fell down. I was laying on the grass, which is, in Eastern Oregon is just rock hard.
Right.
And I was thinking, wow, the stars are spinning around. It's like those cartoons. It's like a real thing. So my coach runs over, he grabs my face mask and he's like, Wordsworth, that was incredible. You can't teach kids to fall over the goal line like that. That's a skill you have. So,
It's more like where I landed, coach, not where I
yeah,
was trying to
yeah.
go.
So, and yeah, a couple days later, I got called out of class, out of math class. It was the principal, the football coach, the basketball coach, my dad. And they said, how's school going? And I was like, it's going great. And they said, well, what do you think you're getting for grades? And I said, well, I'm doing pretty good. And they said, well, you have an A in art and an A in PE, and you're failing the rest of your classes.
For real.
For real, yeah. I suppose just traveling around all the time, I was a couple grades behind where I should have been.
Oh, wow.
And they said, well, you're done with football. Just like that. And I
Did,
thought,
did you
well,
did you did you really fight that?
no,
You're like,
not really.
oh darn, okay.
Yeah. And then they said, well, and no basketball. And I went,
Uh,
oh, wait a minute, wait a
that's
minute.
serious.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
sport. I'm playing basketball. And they said, well, you're gonna have to get those grades up. And I said, fine, if I get my grades up, can I play basketball? And they said, yes, we don't think you're gonna do it, but but yeah, you go for it.
Wow.
And so anyhow, I ended up getting my grades up. I mean, I just worked my rear off, and managed to get. I made it onto the honor roll by the end of the year. So
Dude.
I was motivated to
Yeah,
play basketball.
what a great example of how sport can be motivating, not just to, stay eligible or to make it to next season of like,
Sure.
oh, just to do the sport. I'm trying to remember if it was Tony Holler or somebody online was like, because people are like, oh, if they don't have their grades, you should kick them off the team because that'll teach them to get
Right.
their grades. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think it was
yeah.
Tony. This feels like a Tony, like he would say this. He was like, no, why would you do that? Now you take away all motivation for this kid to get good grade, to
Oh
get some
yeah,
grades
yeah.
here. Well, that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the power of sport, man. I tell
Oh
you,
yeah, yeah.
it's something.
I was motivated. Yep.
Yeah. So
So
you made it and got to play basketball.
yeah, I got to play basketball, and
Nice.
that was a good time. And I don't know if it was just because of the situation with our school or they happened to do this back then, but you could play multiple sports,
Hmm.
except for football. You had to play the entire season of football, but you could do like a partial sport. Like I
Hmm.
wrestled, and I got like 3 matches in. And I played baseball. I got like 3 games in.
Hmm.
So we are able to kind of bounce around, which was kind of cool for, a junior high kid to figure out what they
Hmm.
liked.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was off to baseball practice and I'd already played 3 games. And I saw some of my friends out throwing the shot put. And I thought, wow, I've never seen that before. And so I wandered down to see what these guys were doing. And they saw me coming. And this is a group of guys that rode the bench while I played basketball. And and they're super smart. I mean, they were all valedictorians. I think we had like 7 or 8 valedictorians.
Wow.
And they one became a lawyer, one was an engineer, one was a
Well,
businessman, so super smart. So
well.
whatever the coach told them about the shot put, they knew exactly how to
Mhm.
teach this.
Right, right,
And
right,
so they're standing there telling me how to throw the shot put because they just assumed, being 140 pounds, there's no way I'm throwing this
right,
thing very far.
right.
And so as I stood there, I thought, I don't have the upper body strength for this, so I'm gonna have to push off the ground as hard as I can. Had no idea that's what you're supposed to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so on the first throw, it flew over all their marks. And of course they were upset, which made me want to throw even
Get
farther.
back over to baseball, Alan.
Yeah. So, and then the third throw, it flew right over the school record, and I thought, wow, this is pretty fun.
Wow.
And so everybody was talking about it in the hallway and in our hallway or in the office, they had all the track and field school records. And I thought, wow, I could get on that board. And so, sure enough,
That's
I mean, because we had this system where you could do multiple sports, as long as you got your 5 practices in, you could just bounce from one sport to another.
hmm.
No, and so that week, I went to my first track meet and I broke the school record. And
Wow.
yeah, so it was pretty fun. Uh,
Did you said that you'd seen them throwing shot and was like, what is that? So
yeah,
besides like some high jumping because of Fosbury back over in Corvallis,
yeah.
sounds like you didn't really know much about track and field.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Wide World Sports, that was probably my
Yeah.
only exposure, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. So I tried hurdles, I tried everything.
Hmm.
Everybody said, "Hey, you're a high jumper, you need to high jump." And so I went over the high jump.
Why did they say that? Are we don't know
Yeah.
each other, so I don't know how tall you are or
Yeah,
not
yeah.
tall.
So
Why?
I think I was
Not that that's the
seventh
right
grade.
answer, but
Yeah.
that's how most people go. Oh, you're 7 foot. Oh, you're gonna be a high jumper. And it's like, well, that's
Yeah,
probably not true,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. So I think seventh grade, 6'1", 6'2", something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And it weighed 140 pounds. I
Right.
wrestled in eighth grade at 145 pounds. So,
Oh,
so that's the only. And Efren Ramirez was 185. That's how I know.
we don't forget Ephraim.
Yeah.
So
So,
that cracks me up that you still think I remember Ephraim.
well, and the funny thing was, as we started throwing, my biggest competitor was him. He was super strong, but he had no technique. So
Hmm.
we bounced the school record back and forth every other
Huh.
meet.
Yeah.
So
I,
I went,
I
I
love
went,
that. It's always interesting to me, and the reason we kind of spend a lot of time on this part of like your high school development is because, spoiler, we know you end up becoming a track coach, right? So I'm always
right,
like trying to figure out like even if you didn't, most people don't know or believe or think that they're going to be a track coach in high school. It usually comes
sure,
comes after,
sure.
although we've had some. Uh, but I'm always like trying to find like little things like, oh, well, see how you started being real curious about how the game plan was going to happen for high jumping? Well, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's a
yeah.
future coach that you had some natural instincts about the shot put. That's
Yeah.
interesting that you're
Yeah.
like, all right, well, and some of it was natural and some of it was from your own limitations. Like, well, I'm not very strong upper body, so
Uh,
those guys are my legs are bigger than my arms. Maybe I should use the legs more. Like
yeah.
that's just a, obviously that's not a common thought because the other kids weren't doing it. Like that,
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah.
uncommon to think that. So that's just interesting to me that you had some kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
natural inclination there. Okay, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, so I went over the high jump. My first jump, I knocked the crossbar down. My second jump, I knocked the crossbar and the standards down. And then, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the old Gill standards with the round pedestal on the bottom.
Yeah,
It
Reds.
didn't take
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And then I knocked.
Is your high jump the aluminum triangle?
Oh yeah, because
Oh,
on my
brother.
third
I
jump, I landed on the bar and I
oh,
broke it in half.
dude.
Yep, and I thought, I don't like this. This is not fun. So,
I didn't hurt this much throwing the shot.
yeah, yeah. So off I went. I didn't do the high jump anymore.
So not an
Um,
immediate love.
no.
And when you say hit the bar and standards, things like that, because you mentioned Fosbury, what style are you being coached in?
Well, it was the Fosbury flop.
It was okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
this is a question. Everybody's doing the Fosbury at this point.
Well, no, because in eighth grade, Efren had started beating me pretty well,
Oh, that from
and I threw 39, 11 and a half, right at 40 feet,
Mhm.
and then he threw 42, and then he threw 46,
Oh,
and then he threw 48, and I
oh,
thought,
Ephraim,
yeah,
dang.
yeah, yeah, he had figured out the technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something clicked for Ephraim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it did. It did. So I thought I got to find another sport.
Okay, okay.
And so I was talking to my coach and he said, "You're a high jumper. I don't, you just need to go out there." And so he grabs the kid out of PE class and he said, "Take Wordsworth out to the high jump pit." And he said, "What foot do you jump off of?" And I said, "Well, I tried my left." And he said, "Switch to the other side, jump off your right."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Okay, sounds good." And he sends this other kid and he said, "Don't let him come back until he jumps 5 feet." And I said, "Well, what about English class?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. I will take care of it." So,
Wow.
which is hilarious because in this day and age, that would never
Yeah,
happen.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, great, I can miss English and I'll go out and try this again. And so off I went, and sure enough, jumping off the other side, which I'm right-handed, which is kind of unusual,
Yeah.
right-footed.
Yeah.
And I leaped right over 5 feet, and I jumped I like 5'4" or something. And I thought, well, this is
Wow.
this is loads of fun. And so we had our first meet, and my teammate Kevin Tooley and he had been jumping for quite a while. And we were watching all these other guys in this first meet, and people are scissoring, Western rolling.
Hmm.
And we were the only ones doing the Fosbury flop.
Okay, so
And
it is still
yeah,
new. Yeah, yeah, got
yeah,
it, got it.
yeah.
Okay.
And I said,
Okay.
"Well, Kevin, shouldn't we be doing a straddle or something?
Right,
That's
right.
what those guys are doing." He's like, "No, they'll slowly fall out, and you'll be fine." So off we went. And we went 1-2. It was loads of fun.
Wow.
And then I think I just had 3 meets that year, or 2 meets maybe, but I jumped 5'5", which tied the school record, and then I jumped 5'6", and it was the classic. Went over the bar, slid off the pit. It was still on. Yay! I broke the school record. And then my coach walks up to me and he goes, "No, that's not a school record. That getting off the pit before the bar falls down. That's never been a rule."
Oh,
But
okay.
to,
Well, hold on,
to
because I
this
was
day,
exactly going to ask you that. I was like, first
yeah,
of all, was that still? I was going to start by saying, was that still a prevailing thought, a myth? But and
yeah.
two, I was like, was it ever? Maybe it was in the rule book back then. 'Cause I was like, was it actual? It's never been, right?
It's never been. That's what he said. It's never been a rule.
Where
But
in
but
the
to this
world
day,
today
yes,
I can
yes.
go to our local school right
Yep.
now and someone would yell, "Get up!" Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Isn't that interesting? Like,
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with. Sorry, I almost named the podcast the Tangent Podcast because I just, it's hard for me to just stay right here. I'm fascinated when like things become viral. Today we would call them viral. Um, why they do and why they die off and how they actually permeate the culture. Like, one of the more recent ones was the 6-7 thing, right? Yeah, I
Oh yeah.
assume. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember it's so funny. I have a freshman and a sixth grader kids, and they were doing it. My son
Mhm.
wasn't. He's
Mhm.
very he's a fisherman, so he's like, I don't care about what anybody's doing. I just want to be in the lake. But my
Yeah.
daughter for sure was doing the whole thing. And you hear people are getting upset, and I'm like, guys, we did the same. I'm a little bit younger than you, Alan, but we did the same kind of stupid. I'm sure there's things that you guys did that were just stupid, like
Oh
as a
yeah.
kid, that just,
Yeah.
and there was no reason why. You were just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I saw one of my friends do it. Now I think it's kind of funny.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
first of all, guys, we did the same thing. Second of all, this will die down. In fact, the other day, I looked at my daughter and I was like, so are we still doing 6-7? She's like, no, not really. I was like, exactly. It was a fad for 6 months, 6-7 months, and we move
Yeah.
on. But one of the things that, so where I'm going with this is this get off the mat before the bar falls.
Right.
Like that to me is a viral thing. It's in a very subculture, right? High jump of track and field,
Right.
of sport, of society. But first of all, where did somewhere it had to start? Somewhere
Yeah.
in Spokane, Washington, or Ventura, California, or Eufaula, Alabama. Someone had to like that had to be like what they told their officials, like, hey, if the kid gets off the mat for the falls,
Oh yeah.
we're going
Yeah.
to count that. And then
Yeah.
somehow that had to little sprinkles. Like that
Yeah.
official went and worked at the state meet in Alabama, and then that official got to do the Great Southwest meet. Right?
Right.
Just I and
It's
and the
amazing.
longevity of this
It
one.
is. It is.
So what this is in the 70s when you're talking your
Yeah.
story?
Yeah. Yeah. About 75, 76.
So 50, okay, I was born in 76, so I know exactly
Yeah.
how long ago.
Yeah.
50 years. I'm 50 this year.
Yeah.
For over 50 years, even in today's age where I have seen it tweeted, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that is not a rule, guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It still
It
happens.
is.
That I don't know why that if I was like an academic, that's the kind of stupid things I would study. I'd go
Oh
get
yeah.
grants for
Yeah.
that. Like how in the world? That just
Right.
boggles me.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah. Oh
really
yeah.
hoping, honestly, Alan, I was really hoping you were going to tell me, yeah, in the 70s that was a rule, but they abolished it in the 80s. That would give me some hope, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, we're just for some
Yeah.
reason holding on to this, old rule book. And
Yeah. Oh
even
yeah.
then, it was a falsehood. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Sorry. I
Yeah.
just
Oh
find
yeah.
that fascinating.
Yeah. No, no. So then I went off to high school. By this time, the school was rebuilt. And we had the biggest gym you've probably ever seen.
Was high
It
school 10, 11, 12 back then?
no, it was 9
You didn't
through
have nine.
12.
Okay,
Yes.
that might be a
Yes.
regional thing. I know in a lot of areas,
Yeah. Yeah.
not until I'm gonna say recently, call it 2000, was it 9, 10, 11, 12? A lot of times. Okay, all
Right,
right, keep
yeah.
going. So you got all four
So
grades. Yep,
yeah, yeah, brand new school.
huge gym.
The gym had 5 cross courts. So you could run with no barrier in between. You could run the 50-yard dash and have room at the end.
Wow.
And I don't know how I mean it was the second largest gym floor in the state at the time.
Yeah. So that was
Uh
second. Holy cow.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for a double A school, pretty cool. Right next
Wow.
door was a theater, and it did at the top of the theater, it had like 3 classrooms that they could open up. But I think when they fully opened everything up, it seated like a thousand people or something. You could
And
easily
how
get
big's the
the
school?
450
That's
in
what
the
I
high
thought I
school.
heard you say. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, part of it was, for a community use type thing.
Yeah, but if
So
you've got 450, let's call it 500, the community ain't
yeah.
that big either.
No, no. I mean, you
Yeah.
could fit the entire school
Community. Yeah.
population. Yeah, right.
I was gonna go, the whole community can get in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe it was the tornado shelter or something.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, a super modern school. I mean, the school itself is kind of built down in the ground for it to be super efficient.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
Literally.
There was locker rooms all over the place, varsity locker rooms. There was and weights were not a big deal, but there was a weight room, just starting to come into.
Hmm.
There was a gymnastics room. There's a racquetball room.
Wow, yeah, yeah.
There was even a locker room for visiting teams only, which is really cool,
Wow.
especially having been a teacher.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Wow.
Um, so, anyhow, I continued to play basketball.
Hmm.
Um, tried cross country a bit, but that didn't go too good. But
Mhm.
and then track season started. And if you were a basketball player, you did not have to turn out that first week. You could take a week off. But I was too excited. So first day of practice, I went to track practice, and I met one of my teammates who was a senior, a kid named Jeff Hip. And the coach said we're gonna run 25 150s day one of practice. And Coach Walker
Oh,
was
brother.
yeah, he was quite
Everybody?
no, I think it was just us. It was just a handful of us that were running. And
Oh,
so we're kind of running, and we get to about 10, and the other guys that were kind of running, they were kind of petering out. And so Jeff said to me, he's a senior, I'm a freshman. He goes, "Hey, let's just burn these guys." And we kind of hurried up and we ran a few more, and then they all kind of dropped out and they went home. And we get to about 20, and I noticed, and we had a cinder track. Every time we would get close to the finish line, Jeff would just surge ahead of me and just spray me with cinders. And I thought, and being a freshman, on the 20th run, he went to look over his left shoulder, and I cruised right by him on the right side and ran over the finish line. And I thought, that's pretty cool for a freshman. And Coach Walker lost his mind. And so he was really upset at Jeff. And
oh,
so I thought, oh
about
boy.
to get toasted now.
Yeah, yeah. So off we went for the last four, and I ran as hard as I could. I could not keep up with this
Yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Turns out that he had every meet record around the area. He
Oh.
was, I mean, we ran yards, so I would
Hmm.
imagine he was a 46, 45
Yeah.
second
Hmm.
400-meter guy.
Super good. We take that today for
Yeah.
crying out
Oh
loud. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
And
that
you were
was
keeping with them.
well, kinda. I mean, he just
I mean, it's
he
not like
thought
you dropped out after 20, 25,
no,
but
no. I
you
did the
you
25.
hung in there the whole time as a
Yeah,
freshman.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then I went out. The coach was super excited with me, and he said, "Yo, go to the shower." And then he turned around to Jeff and said, "Okay, now the real work starts." And I was like, "What does that mean?"
Oh,
And
brother.
yeah, and so as I walked out of the shower, Jeff was still out there running, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, this guy is an animal."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, never seen anything like it.
I hear stories like that, and sadly, that story still happens today in
Oh yeah,
2026.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes I just wonder, how in the world are we the highest participation sport out of all of them? Because
Oh, oh
sometimes
yeah.
we do everything we can to get rid of kids, man.
Oh yeah,
Day
yeah,
one,
yeah.
25 150s. We'll see who
Yeah,
survives. We'll
yeah.
see who
Oh
comes back for
yeah.
day two.
Yeah. Well, and Coach Walker, Glenn Walker, he was a well-known name. Him and his three brothers, they ran all their relays back in the 50s, and they were super fast. And I think most of them went to Central Washington. He made I think it was probably the 68 Olympic trials.
Oh, wow.
So he was pretty amazing. His
Yeah.
brother, there's track meets named after them. And
Wow.
um, well, the funny thing about Jeff is he did not go to Oregon. Portland State at the time was the powerhouse, especially for middle distance
Is that
guys.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Or Corvallis, he didn't go to Oregon State.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's kind of odd. I ended up, we had a teacher who was a javelin thrower who's also from Oregon, said a very similar thing that he went to Oregon because he couldn't get into Portland State.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was the number two javelin thrower in the nation. And I thought, wow, that must have been something.
Dude.
And
So are
all
you a quarter miler now?
no, no,
Okay.
I am
You
still
said no.
I ran the hurdles. I mean, and we are also
Nice.
experimenting with 42-inch hurdles. So, I mean, it was fun to run in junior high, but wow, when they jumped up to 42 inches, I was like, this is crazy. I
Wait,
can't
wait,
run these
wait,
things.
wait. But for competitions in high school, you were still at 39s.
No, no.
What do you
There
mean?
for a year too, we ran the 42 inches, the high hurdles, the really high hurdles.
Wait, hold on. I don't know. And I mean, come on, I got tattoos of hurdles. That's my favorite
Oh
event in the whole
yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
Hold on. So are you saying, I want to make sure I hear this right. In
Hmm?
Oregon,
Yeah.
so the state said, hey, we're going to try this out. They probably didn't maybe necessarily have a time frame at that point, but hey, for a
Right.
year, we're going to, and I know everybody's doing 39s around the country, but
Yep.
we're going to do like what the university does. We're going to do 42s.
They did. And they did it for like 2 or 3 years.
No
And
way.
yeah, I think I still have it. There's like this all these old school record or state records. And then there's the retired 42-inch one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we also ran like the low hurdles, like they were like 150s, 180s, 300s, a whole variety of different
Yeah.
lengths. And I think they were just kind of experimenting at the time with what to
It,
do.
it's funny. I'm trying to think how this will play out when we actually, so I recorded another episode yesterday, but I think I actually have two because I have some specials planned in between. So maybe if you're listening right now, 3 weeks ago, maybe if I'm doing my math right, we had Kaylee Johnson from Central Methodist University on there. And Alan, we could not have two. Kaylee is 24 years old. She's in her
Uh-huh.
second year. Yeah, yeah. Now I've got Alan who's retired. I'm
Yeah.
doing the whole span right here in these last 2 days. But we had a discussion at the end of her interview about progression of hurdles. Like it started out by, should women hurdles, in college or pro go
Oh,
to
sure.
36 and things like that. And we brought up, the state of Iowa used to, I think they moved up. They did the opposite of Oregon. They
Mhm.
used to be 30-inch for the women's high hurdles,
Oh, wow.
36 inches for the boys' high hurdles.
Oh, wow.
And which is a great development
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
And I mentioned something about like I think overseas in Europe, I think maybe they do it a little bit better. Like for middle schoolers, they even do like 80-meter hurdles at
Oh, yeah.
36 or something like that. And like that's a natural progression that, I mean, as
Yeah.
good as America
Yeah.
is in hurdles,
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. Like how many more could we have? You guys went screw all of that and went
Yeah.
straight to 42s.
Oh, yeah.
As a freshman, even as
Yeah.
6'1", 6'2", whatever you were at that time, that had to look like a mountain
It
in front
did.
of
It
you.
it was horrible.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So as a freshman, I'm just high jumping, and I find that my older classmates, I didn't really care about necessarily jumping high. I just enjoyed beating my senior, junior, senior classmates just to drive them crazy. And so we go to a big meet in John Day, Oregon. And it is raining sideways. It's horrible, and I just jump out of my mind. And so get done. Sun comes out, and we walk over to Coach Walker, and he looks up at Brian Piercy, my senior teammate, and he goes, "Well, how'd you do?" And he goes, "Well, I no-hided." And I'd never heard that word before.
Oh,
And so,
interesting.
yeah, and so I'm standing there, and Coach Walker is not pleased. And so he's pretty fired up. And so Brian goes, being the senior, he goes, "Well, ask Wordsworth how he did." And I go, "Well, I got second." And so to this day, I can still see the yellow legal pad that him and our assistant coach, they're just scribbling there. I mean, because we had a chance to win this meet because it was a big meet. Didn't take a lot of points to win it.
Right, right.
We have the 45-second 400-meter kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Our 4x4 is pretty awesome, and he
Right.
just ran down people like crazy.
Right, right, right.
And so and so anyhow, they're writing, and then Brian goes, "Well, he tied." And I see the pencil stop on the yellow legal pad, and he looks up at me and he goes, "How many did you tie with?" And I, being a freshman, not knowing anything, I said, "Yeah, 19." So I tied with
What?
19 guys.
Like seriously? Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. Second place because they didn't break the ties. So I got like a third of a point. So yeah. And Coach Walker throws down the pencil and he's like, "Wordsworth, what is wrong with
He's
you?"
writing down eight, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, you tied. Hold on, how many?" Scratch point 33.
Yeah. Well, and then our assistant coach is like a math teacher, so he instantly knew how many points this is. And the only thing that saved me when he said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "Well, there's a list. Where would you like me to start?" So he had kind of a smirk on his face, and then he said, "You two get out of here. I hate high jumpers."
Yeah, exactly.
So. Off we went. I still had really no idea what was
Oh
going
my! I was
on.
just like, you just have no. You're a freshman,
Yeah.
and I love that because sometimes we get a little too, I don't want to say formal, but it's like, guys, first of all, you're dealing with 14, 18, even the seniors are only 18-ish years
Oh
old,
yeah.
but a
Yeah.
freshman, you just
Yeah.
have no idea what in the world you're doing.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, keep us moving forward here through
Yeah,
high school.
so I cruised through high school. My junior year, Coach Walker actually got a new job in Seaside, Oregon. It was like the
Oh
mead,
yeah, that's
of
the complete
Oregon.
opposite side, right?
Yeah, oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. They're a powerhouse. So he moved there. My junior year was kind of I jumped pretty high, but nothing to write home about. And I got a
Did you
freshman.
did you continue to keep your grades good
Oh
once you
yeah,
finally?
yeah,
Okay, good. Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. Good for
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Um, And my new freshman teammate, a kid named Kenny Moore, he was a 6'6" freshman, and
Dude.
beat him the first meet, and he was really upset about it. And I thought, oh, I don't know if he's ever been beaten before, and he hadn't been beat before,
Mhm.
and that was the last time I beat him. I he had my number every time, and it was just a brutal season. We go to regionals. Kenny, I mean, he's tied the school record already. He's like number 2 in the nation for freshmen.
Oh
I don't know
wow.
how they figured that out back
Back
then.
then, right? Yeah,
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 but track and field news or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And so I'm in second place, take top 2 to state. So I was super excited. All my friends are congratulating me. There's one jumper left. He comes over. He's got one remaining jump. I beat this guy a bunch of times. See, he just ran the hurdles. He has a big ice pack on his thigh. And I thought, oh, I got this.
Got this.
And he drops the ice pack off, runs up, jumps over it, hits the bar huge. It bounces like a foot off the standard, does like 3 spins, lands back on the standards, and knocked me out of going to state.
Oh
So,
no,
yeah, so
dude.
super discouraged. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that just happened.
We
And
sometimes discount how much luck is involved in
oh
everything, by the
yeah,
way, our lives, sport, track, high
yes,
jump. I mean,
yes.
he does that same jump 99 more times. It falls 99 times.
Yeah, yeah,
That one time it landed just
you did.
perfect.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
man.
my dad got a new job in North Idaho, pretty
Oh.
close to Spokane.
Mhm.
And my parents said, "Hey, if you want to stay and graduate with your friends, we can make arrangements." And I thought, you know what? I cannot beat Kenny. I'm off
Kenny
for a
made
new.
you move?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was in my head. I just couldn't do it.
My
So.
favorite thing is when I hear stories like that is to think about the other side that Kenny is do you know what Kenny does today?
Yeah, he's a farmer.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kenny is on some farm podcast right now, and he's talking about,
Yeah.
let me tell you about my favorite event. I was a high jumper, and we had the senior. I was a freshman. We had this senior named Alan, and boy, we used to battle, and he beat me once, and that just tore me up, and I never
Yeah.
let him beat me again. I made him move his senior year.
Yep, yep, it's exactly what happened. Yeah, yeah. So,
And
uh, s-
are you primarily high jump at this point? Are you still
I
doing
I
some other
did
things?
every single event except the 2 mile.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for fun, I tried
Yeah.
everything. I triple jumped mostly.
Yeah.
Um, long jumped a little bit.
Yeah. And are you like, I'm always fascinated because, today we'll shake our fist, us old guys, we'll shake our fist at today's young kids. They don't know who the professionals are. They don't know who but did you know, like, you knew Fosbury from being, I mean,
Yeah,
almost because you were in the same freaking town, but
yeah.
did you know who like won the 72 Olympics in the high
Oh yeah.
jump? Yeah.
Dwight Stones, I want to be just like Dwight
Oh,
Stones.
okay. So you were
Yeah.
kind of a nerd about,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know
Okay.
where we got our info. Like I
I
said,
mean, it's only
Wide
track and
World
field
Sports.
news. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wide
Yeah.
World Sports and Film. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, my parents moved to
Yeah.
St. Mary's, Idaho, which
Okay.
is on the Coeur d'Alene Lake, and
Beautiful.
it was also a double A school, and so I was just set to go there. And then the basketball coach showed up to talk to my brother, who at that time, as a freshman, he was like
Because you still
six.
played basketball this whole time too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still
Mhm.
played
And
basketball.
would you say that's your number one sport? Like,
No, track and field was it.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you kind of made it sound like basketball was your sport,
Yeah, initially I
but it
suppose it was.
changed.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I realized that hey, it's just good conditioning for track and field.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
And track and field in Oregon was gigantic.
Sure.
Before I probably was in maybe junior high, grade school. No, probably grade school. Prefontaine had gone around to all the big meets around the state and done an exhibition run. And
Oh, so
so
he
we
really was a rock star.
Oh yeah, and we would go to these schools and
Wow.
they would have a big poster of him running and it would be signed by Pre and the teams were gigantic, the boys teams in particular. I saw teams that had 185 boys on their track team. And there were guys that did not make the varsity or the JV or the freshman team, so they would have like these inner meet scrimmages just so they could do events. Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah,
Wow.
we had a team of like 75 and we had a really small team. Yeah, so yeah, it was just crazy.
That is
Uh,
crazy. That
yeah.
again, you talk about culture, like how did a Prefontaine
Hmm.
create this madness? Because obviously we're talking about in Oregon, but it goes beyond that. I mean, there's still people who
Oh
wear
yeah.
stop pre, and one of the things that you do when you go to Eugene, you got to go. I'm not a
Yeah.
distance guy by
Yeah,
any
yeah.
stretch of the imagination, and I go to Oregon at least once a year, every year, multiple times for a lot of years. And I finally was like, I don't feel like I'm actually like I kind of feel like a fraud in this track world that because I haven't gone to Breeze Rock. I had to
Oh
go
yeah,
pay the
yeah.
homage, it's like, all
Yeah,
right, I better
yeah.
go. Let me go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
So I show up ready to go to this school, and the basketball coach he shows up, talk to my brother because he's a giant, and he's talking to my brother the entire time. My brother finally says, "You know, my brother is a good basketball player," and he looks at me and he goes, "We have the number one team in the state. We don't really need another senior." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
wow.
yeah," and I was like, "Wow, that's something." And I
Like
said,
no
"Well."
consideration, like you might be better than one of my
No,
say.
none. And
Wow.
at this time, I'm 6'4", so
Oh,
and I was like, okay, crazy. And I thought, well, interesting. And I said, well, you have a track team, don't you? And he goes, well, yeah, kinda. And I said, do you have a high jump
oof.
pit? And he goes, no, I don't think so.
Oh,
And I thought, what kind of a crazy place have I moved to? And
yeah.
so I was really doubting what I had done. And so I was just moping around the house, and we couldn't find a place to live because it was pretty short notice. And so we lived just outside the district in another school district. And my mom said, "Hey, why don't you go down to the school down here and see if they've got a high jump pit?" So I literally go down to the school. I walk in the front door, and there's a janitor sweeping things up, and I'm kind of looking around. And he asked if he could help me, and I said, "Hey, do you have a high jump pit?"
That dude has never been asked that question.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
since then either.
Yeah.
That dude
And
never got
so,
asked
and
that.
he looked at me like I was crazy. And he goes, yeah, of course we have a high jump pit. And
Oh.
this is a small school. This is like a B school or like a single A school, I guess.
Hmm.
And I said, great. And he said, well, how high can you jump? And I said, well, last year I jumped 6'4", so
Hmm.
I was looking at their school record. I could easily break that. He goes, son, have you jumped in North Idaho? And I said,
Weather.
well, no, I have not. How hard could it be?
Right, right.
And he goes, well, I'll sign you up for school. And so he literally puts down his room. He goes into the office. He gets all the paperwork for me to
Oh, it's
fill
a
out.
small school. This is the
Yeah, and
janitor, the
well,
principal, the
yeah, and
math teacher. Yeah, yeah. This guy
I'm
does it all.
thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. This is crazy. And it turns out he was not the janitor. He just happened to be cleaning stuff up. And he was the track coach, and he was the assistant principal too.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So a guy named Rich Lend, and
Dude.
yeah, just hilarious. And so sure enough, I turned out, play basketball there, got to play
So,
against same.
so you got to go to school there because you guys were living, even though dad's
Yeah,
coaching or teaching at the other school, you were living
right.
outside that district. So you were allowed to go because I
Yes.
assume you had to be in the district. That's
Yeah.
typical. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah. So anyhow, I wasn't even going to play basketball, but the principal called me in and he said, "Hey,
Hey,
We
you're 6'4".
yeah. And so he goes, I've got this order form for a brand new high jump pit. I could probably turn that in today if you play basketball. And I was like, okay, I'm playing basketball. Not the worst thing, but still.
So funny.
So yeah, it's just hilarious. And he was right. My coach was right. I mean, a lot of times there'd be like an oval piece of asphalt in front of the high jump pit. I just remember my spikes would not go through it. It was nasty weather all the time.
Yeah.
I like to joke in 1980, the first day of practice was sunny and the last day of practice was sunny, and it rained
In
or
between.
snowed every single day.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
so
What was so where you were in Idaho is a
hmm?
stone's throw from Oregon though, right?
No, it's a stone's throw from Washington. So if you were to go
Yeah, oh,
straight
got it.
west,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah, way up there towards the Canadian border.
So the culture of what you mentioned in Oregon, how track and field's a big deal and pre
Oh
is a
yeah,
big
yeah.
deal. That's not permeating up there.
No, it was
Got it.
all it was basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it
okay.
always has been basketball, I think.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so that just kind of blew my mind. I'd never really seen anything quite like it. And
Hmm.
this is a super small school. I mean, that also blew my mind. There was 19 in my graduating class.
Oh yeah,
I,
dude.
yeah. I went from 125 in my class
Oh
to
yeah.
19.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Did you set the school record?
oh yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
did. Okay, good.
yeah.
Well, he
Well,
wasn't too confident, so I was making
yeah,
sure.
no,
Okay, good,
and
good, good.
it was hilarious too
Awesome.
because all these places I kept jumping and jumping, and it was brutal. But one of the girls on the basketball team said, "Hey, if you could beat that guy, we're at a basketball game, you could win a state title." And me not knowing anybody, I thought, "Oh, okay." And so I worked hard to beat this guy. Finally beat him at regionals, went to state. We go to practice, and I am just so focused in jumping well. It's at Boise State, and I remember you did your 1918 podcast, and the guy that did Idaho talked about that state meet at Boise State,
Yeah.
and he
Br-
was right.
who was that? Brian Stith? Was that Idaho? I think so.
Yeah,
I can't.
uh,
Too
but
many podcasts.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
right. All
Yeah.
divisions competed at the same time.
Yeah.
You had like 11,000 people in the stands.
Yeah.
It was run so
Awesome.
efficiently. To this day, it's one of the best state meets I've
Is
ever
that
seen.
right?
Yeah. But since then, it's kind of broken down. It's moved around to high schools
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. 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 That's right. Yeah.
And so anyhow, I'm down there, we're practicing, and I'm jumping good, but I am not clearing anything.
Hmm.
And finally my coach walks over, he goes, you're reading these fancy standards wrong. That's not 5'10", that's 6'4". And I was like, okay, I feel better now. And so as we're leaving, I hop up on the podium and I said, Coach, take a picture of me. When I win this thing, you're not going to be able to get a good picture of me. And he said the classic line, Wordsworth, get off that before you get in trouble. So we were kind of going over the all the guys high jumping. Nobody from my school had ever placed, let alone won at a state meet since
Wow.
the early 50s. And so that was a big deal. And he said,
Yeah.
"Hey, if you can beat one guy, you could be the first one ever to place from our school." And
Wow.
I said, "But coach, I'm going to win this thing." And he's like, "Oh, you just go ahead and keep thinking that. That sounds
Right.
good." And
Right. Right.
so that night, I had this weird dream that it was really cold at the state meet. And I got up kind of laughing and I went outside and it is freezing. It'd been in the 90s in Boise for weeks on end. It was 31 degrees.
No.
Yeah. So we go to the
And
meet
you
to watch it.
dreamt this.
Yes. And so I go to the meet, to watch our long jumper, and I am freezing. And so my coach goes, "Hey, do you want to run back to the hotel and get a hot shower?" And I was like, "Well, do we have time?" "Oh, sure." And this is the most laid back coach you have ever seen in your life. And so I go get a hot shower. I literally hop out of the car, go into the stadium as they were being called to go and start warming up.
Okay.
And you can tell everybody is freezing their butts off. They can't get warm. I am sweating. My hair is steaming. And so I start jumping, and I'm just like jumping out of my mind. I'm jumping great. I mean, there's the 6'9" guy that I'm jumping against, and he was the favorite to win. And it goes to the school record. And I tell my athletes this all the time. I am standing there. I mean, it's deafening loud. And the first thing that flashes through my head is my heart is pounding so hard that I see like a black and white newspaper says local high jumper dies of heart attack at state meet. And that is as I am starting my run up. And so I take off. I hit the corner, but I'm so impatient. I cut the corner really tight, and I thought all I can do is just really drive my knee up and hope this works out. And I fly over the bar, and there's two guys on either side standing on these little boxes. And the one guy keeps telling me the height that I cleared it by as I walk by. And he said, "You cleared that by between 6 and 8 inches." I almost cleared the pit. I rolled off the backside.
Wow.
So I end up winning the state title, knocking off the guy at 6'9", which was awesome
Dude.
because he walks up to me and he congratulates me. And he said, "I was so excited for you to win that because you're a senior, I'm a junior." And I
Oh,
thought, wow, that is the coolest thing.
that's
And
class, dude.
yeah, and he
Holy
said, I'll
cow.
win this next year, which he did. Um, and so really
What a
cool.
great example of we can be competitive
Oh,
and still
yeah.
cheer for other people and be happy for the
Yeah, yeah,
wow. Because you know that dude
yeah.
didn't he wanted to win, let's be
Sure.
for
Yeah,
real. But
yeah,
instead of, pouting or whatever, he's like, oh man, hey, I'm so glad you won. Like, I'll get it next year.
yeah,
Like you talk
yeah,
about that's kind
yeah.
of like supreme confidence, actually. It's like, it's
It
okay.
is.
I
Yeah,
got next year.
yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
dude.
Yep.
And so you're
So,
the first kid
yeah.
to get points for that
Oh, yeah,
school,
yeah, yeah.
let
First gold
alone
medal.
win
Yeah,
the
yeah,
state
yeah.
championship.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So next day was our graduation. And I think it was the next day, it might have been the day after that. But anyhow, it was the Sunday. Mount St. Helens blew up.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, May 18th.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I'm literally sitting in the gym at graduation and I'm looking outside and I'm thinking, why is it getting dark? And so
What did
it
I've never talked to somebody who lived through this, Alan.
oh yeah.
Was there, because so, the biggest thing that's happened to me in my life, like major, big, was
Mhm.
9/11.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was in Indiana, but even though this was happening in New York and DC and Pennsylvania, there was still, and I don't know if West Coasters thought this because, again, many more miles to get there. It felt like, well, this could be it. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is, when that's happening, when St. Helens is erupting and you're looking out the window, like I
Mhm.
have a window right here. I can picture like, oh, it's getting like, why is it
It's
getting dark?
yeah, yeah.
What was the prevailing thought? Was it at the end of times? Was it,
Well, my sitting in graduation, one of my classmates leaned over and said, "It's a nuclear explosion, and we're
yeah,
all
because
dying."
we got to set the tone here because what was
Yeah,
interesting to me too is about when you talked about the weather because somebody's listening going, well, wait a minute, how did you not know it was going to be 30 degrees the next day, your weather
right,
app or
right,
whatever, and
right.
it's or the internet? It's like, no, none of that
No,
exists.
yeah,
If St. Helens type explosion happens today out my window, I'm going to have five texts. Twitter's
right,
going to tell me
right.
you like
Yeah,
like that kid saying that it was a nuclear bomb or whatever,
yeah, yeah.
not really joking. Like you have no
No,
other, like that's a
yeah, we
real
had no
thing that could
reference.
happen and you have
Yeah.
nothing to refute that.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way we found out is right at the end of graduation, the principal came on and said what was going on and that we were all supposed to go home. No parties, by the way, during
Yeah,
my
well, yeah,
graduation. Yeah. It was,
wow.
we
How
probably
long did it
got,
take you before like, did the principal know that it was St. Helens, or did he just say, "Hey, it's not good, but it's not nuclear either,
yeah,
guys. Just go home."
they must have got some kind of message or been listening to the radio
Radio.
or yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
somebody told him
Yeah,
because you're right, there's no social media, nothing
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And I had like 3 miles to drive home, and we had 4 or 5 inches of ash. And so it was like this explosion. I mean,
Wow.
I could barely drive home and make it. And then people that had like rear engine cars, like Volkswagens, They didn't make it at all. Those engines just sucked up ash and they died.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So then we were
That's
pretty,
crazy.
yeah, we were pretty much shut down for 2 or 3 weeks where you just couldn't do much of anything. And you couldn't move it very easy. And
Yeah.
it just weighed a ton. My track coach got me a job
Yeah,
after
what happens? That's okay, good point. Sorry to interrupt you there, but
yeah,
yeah, what happens to all that ash? Like you mentioned,
yeah.
like it's just all over, and I'm like, yeah, does someone go and sweep up the tr I mean, like, where does all of that ash go?
Yeah, it was not very sweepable because I got this job as shoveling off people's roofs because you didn't want it to rain because it was so heavy. But yeah, you
Oh,
would fill up like a 5 gallon bucket and it just weighed a ton. And
what would
yeah,
you
so
do with that? What would you do that with the
you just kind of piled it in corners like
just
snow and
move it over here, move it over here.
yeah,
The
I
wind
mean
takes a little bit of it over here.
yeah, it was around for just forever, and then it would be in the trees too, because it's a heavily wooded area, So
Yeah.
anytime the wind would blow, it was just another disaster.
Did you
Uh,
get, when I say you, your family, people you know, the community, like breathing problems?
that didn't seem to be a problem.
Mhm.
Nobody seemed to wear masks at that time, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So
Thank God it's a once in a lifetime
Oh
thing,
yeah.
you know?
Well, so I just assumed after I won a state title that all these colleges would be calling me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. Was that
but
a thing back then? Like, I mean, because I know there's
yeah,
colleges and there's scholarship things like that, but like, was there like a, oh yeah, okay, they're gonna come calling now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think because of Mount St. Helens,
Oh,
all
sure.
this, nothing happened. And
Yeah.
finally, I went and talked to my high school coach, and he said, "You know what? Take your gold medal, go into town to North Idaho College, and talk to this guy named Mike Bundy. He's the track coach, and see if you can get on the team." And so that's what I
Wow.
did. I
Did
literally,
you, your parent, your dad's an educator.
Mhm.
Mom, I might guess from the time frame is stay at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yep.
there is a culture in your family because of dad of, military,
Right,
schooling,
right.
teaching, like t set aside, like I want to compete in college. Was it still, was there I'm gonna call it a foregone conclusion that you were gonna go to college, or was that like
Yeah,
that was one of a couple of options I had?
yeah. I'd always planned to be an airline pilot. You needed a degree,
Yep. Okay.
and yeah, and if you
Well,
weren't going to go the military route, then you had to just build up a lot of flying hours.
right,
And
right.
I'd already gotten or I was working on getting my pilot's license, private pilot's
Yeah, is
license.
that right? Was
So
that a,
yeah,
a pilot?
nope. That was just something I just
Okay,
had.
I didn't know. You said, because
Yeah,
you said Air Force. I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, that's
Not that
true.
you have to be Air Force, but yeah, I
Yeah,
just yeah.
yeah. So, but I got to know a
Wow.
lot of his ROTC
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they kind of inspired me to be a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pilot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I had I was gonna my degree was gonna be in architecture.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so I really took to drafting. Of all the classes that I kind of struggled with, drafting was not one of those. I
Huh.
had a skill to do drafting
Is
back
that
then.
right? And this big
Yeah,
drafting table, this is back in the day, again,
yeah.
before
Oh yeah.
computers and CAD and all that. This was literally
Oh yeah.
ruler and pencil. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was kind of my plan. I met with Coach Bundy. He said he was going on sabbatical. I had no idea what that meant.
Where's
So
that? Is that Southern
yeah.
Idaho? I don't know where that is.
So his plan was for his assistant coaches to take over do the coaching responsibilities for that season. Then he'd be back my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, so I was like, okay. And his what he did is he went around the world really and recruited all these athletes. And
Oh.
so I jumped pretty good my freshman year, even though I didn't really have a coach. In this area at that time, there was just so many stud high jumpers. I jumped one meet, I jumped 6'8", and I didn't even make it to finals.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I mean there was 4 or 5 guys that were 7'4" plus.
Wow.
Yeah, so you just had all these jumpers that were just jumping
And,
crazy.
and you're at North Idaho College?
Yeah, I was at North Idaho College.
For,
So
for
you would
is that a
have
is that a 4 year? Forgive me, I
no,
don't.
No, that would just be a
Okay,
2 year.
that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then you would have the University of Idaho, WSU, Eastern Washington,
Right,
Whitworth, Gonzaga, all those, and then Spokane Community College.
right,
Same year, 2 year college, but they had a
right.
dynasty for decades.
Hmm.
And then all those great teams you saw at WSU, they came from Spokane Community.
Is
Yeah.
Spokane Community where Dan O'Brien?
Yes.
Yeah, we had Dan on the
Yep.
show.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, what this here and there, but it's fascinating to me, his loyalty. He goes to
Mhm.
Idaho because really no one else will take him.
Right.
He flunks out. He was very open about it. Goes to Spokane. He's a stud now at this time. He could have gone
Yeah.
anywhere. And he's like, you know
Oh
what?
yeah.
Mike at Idaho took a chance on me when no one
Yeah.
else would. I'm going back to Idaho. So
Oh
I,
yeah.
I thought I always remembered Spokane Community College being that school
Oh yeah.
that's where I think he
Yeah.
met Rick and Sloan and all that stuff. Anyway, um, so you do a 2 year at North Idaho. You're
Yeah,
jumping.
yeah, jump in, and
Yep.
that went pretty good.
Hmm.
Pretty excited. Then I got injured. I injured my calf. Towards the end of my sophomore year, I just really started jumping well.
Hmm.
And the plan was to go down to Idaho after that.
Hmm.
And I met with Mike, and he said, just why don't you do some invite meets and see how you feel, and then if you feel great, come back out. But otherwise, just trying to get better. So that's what happened. And I never did get much better. It
Hmm.
took quite some time. Although, well, yeah. So I ended up changing my major when I went to Idaho. Decided architecture was not for me,
Okay.
and I got a degree in industrial education,
Okay.
which would be like your shop
Oh,
classes.
so that's shop teacher. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
woodworking, drafting, metals, all that stuff.
was the idea because if you're going to do architecture and become a pilot, I don't
Mm.
see where coaching is in that headset at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not really
no,
there.
no.
But now if you're doing industrial tech, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
is this where coaching started coming into or not at
It's
all at that
I
point?
took some coaching classes,
Hmm.
basketball and track coaching classes.
Hmm.
And so then when I did my student teaching, I wasn't gonna do any, they recommended not coaching. But they lost their high jump coach, and I did my student teaching at Coeur d'Alene High School.
Hmm.
And so the most hilarious story is I had this kid in my class, he's a basketball player, and I had to go to a meeting. And I walk out of this meeting at this grade school, and him and his friends are shooting baskets. And I said, "Hey, you should come out for track because I'm going to be the high jump coach."
Hmm.
And he goes, "No." And I said, "Well, what about we play a game of horse? And if I beat you, you have to come out."
Nice.
So I beat him. He comes out for track. He jumps 6'8". And it was just hilarious. He breaks the school record. Yeah,
Wow.
so I had
That's
him,
awesome.
yeah, I had like a 6'4" and a 6'2" kid. And
Yeah.
then I had a gymnast girl that she was only 5'5", but she jumped 5'6".
Yeah.
Um,
Where is girls in because we're talking about high school, so we'll stay there.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
is girls track and field in this
They,
era?
I think, I know for my wife, especially in Washington, she went to school in Washington. It started in 1975.
Hmm.
So if you're my age, they started as freshmen and they had track all the way through. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
so by this time, girls track is starting to
It's
build up
starting.
pretty
Okay,
good.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always fascinating, especially when we have some of our older women who went through this and just how, I mean, they're just, I'm thinking like Karen Dennis, now retired head coach of the Ohio State University. And she's like, yeah, I ran on the boys team because there
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
a girls team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we wanted to do it. That's what you did. And it's like, man, I cannot believe it just boggles my mind
Yeah. Oh yeah.
what we
Yeah.
did not do and allow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
Okay, keep going.
yeah, that's where I got my boy, this is a fun time. I'm gonna do this.
Is that
Eh,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I graduated. I built kitchen cabinets for a year, and then I got a teaching job. I got it the Thursday before school started the next Monday. And so
Nice.
and it was at a small school in northern Washington, I suppose, north of
Okay.
Spokane,
Okay.
and named Cusick. And so I showed up there. I coached, I think I coached 5 different sports because you could coach high school and junior high at the
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
And at I had like 7 preps because it's a small school. It's a B school.
Okay.
And so I had all these different classes to teach. But I coached basketball, and my future wife was the head coach. That's,
Oh, no
yeah, yeah.
way.
And then when track season started, she was my assistant coach.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Uh, Back up real quick. What are you teaching?
Mostly the traditional like woodworking, drafting,
Yeah. Oh, so you're
metals.
teaching
Yeah.
shop stuff. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Computers had just started coming in to their own.
Hmm.
Um, I went to friends of my grandparents, and so there's this junior high kid. It was over neighbor kid, and he's like, "Oh, I've been flying my flight simulator," and I was like, "What? Flight simulator? What is that?" So this kid shows me, and then I made the big mistake in my life. I said, "Well, who taught you this computer stuff?" And he goes, "My shop teacher." And I thought, "Oh no, I'm really
Oh
behind."
no.
So so I had to quickly get
Because you thought
schooled.
all shop teachers were computer guys now
Oh
because
yeah,
one.
yeah. So I had to get schooled up on some computer classes before, and I had to teach a computer class my first
Yeah.
semester.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Do you remember that? There used to be computer class. There was a computer
yeah.
lab.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
That's right.
So
Um,
uh,
and you can, I typically don't dive too much into this, so you can answer what you want to and just tell me to buzz off another. You mentioned when you started coaching basketball, the head coach was what we find out is your future wife,
yeah, yeah.
and vice versa when you went to track. Uh, I guess kind of the Pollyannish way to ask it, was it love at first sight? Like, was it like, oh my God, this she likes sports too? And
Oh no, she was she
so,
was
at least not from her, Mike.
she was convinced that I was there to take her job, and and when she finally realized that I had no desire to take on her job, and then she was fine. Yeah, yeah. So,
That's
and we had
awesome.
so many interests that aligned pretty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's
Uh,
like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, we not only are at
yeah.
sports, but we the same sports and stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
and
that's
it's
so
a real
cool.
small school, so
Yeah.
it's a tough school. I mean, it's on the reservation. It's
Mm,
really a
yeah.
challenging group of kids. Great learning experiences, I
How,
like to say.
how long did you teach there?
So I taught there for 3 years.
Okay.
We got married, and then we got this wild idea to move to Winnemucca, Nevada.
Oh, okay.
A lot
Why?
of people, because they paid really well.
Okay.
It was literally, I mean, it was the days of the big silver prices. Mines
Mm-hmm.
are big down there.
Yeah, Silver State.
Yeah, it was a big school. It was, I guess it was a 2A school, over 1,000 students.
Most biggest
Quick.
school you've ever seen at
Oh
this point.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And so we went to, it was a beautiful school. They paid just huge amounts, like I said. I got to be the track coach. Teaser alert, you have to read my book to find out how I got that job because it's kind of
Okay.
hilarious,
Good.
or kind of tragic. I don't know how you want to look at
What a great setup.
it. Yeah. So, and all I did was teach auto shop classes. So I went
Oh.
from, all these preps, I taught one class and I coached
Hmm.
one sport.
Hmm.
And my budget was unlimited. My
Wow.
track
Wow. So it
budget,
was,
yeah,
yeah. Wow. Okay.
yeah, my track budget, they were like, whatever you need, just let us know. The pole vault capital of the world is in Reno,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
close by,
Hmm.
so we could get
Hmm.
all the poles that we
Hmm.
wanted.
Hmm.
Um, and they had a team of 12 before I got there. And then,
It's interesting. You said that, and I cringed a little bit because I was like, "Oh man, that was Pacer back
oh
then.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
Reno. Yeah, we bought
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, that just
yeah,
kind of hit me. I was like, oh
yeah,
wait a minute, that would have been Pacer. Yeah, that right.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
the football capital. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Are you where are you at? And it's a whole different day and age back then as it is today in
Mm.
2026. We got it so easy today in 2026. Where are you at in any kind of coaching education at this point? And I've always looked at coaching education as two buckets: formal and informal. Formal being like level ones, and maybe it was
Oh
TAC back
yeah,
then. So
yeah, yeah,
maybe you did that.
yeah.
Informal is, yeah, I called up my coaching buddy at the rival high school and we talked shop about the high jump or shot put
Right,
or
right.
whatever. That is both of them are extremely valuable. Where are you at in
Yeah.
coaching education? Like,
Yeah.
are you thinking about getting better at being a high jump coach at this point of your
Yeah,
life?
well, when I went down there, I was the head coach, and we didn't really have many high jumpers to speak of. So I mostly coached pole vault and kind of organized everything to get it going. We had, four different coaches, and my level one training didn't come until we moved back up here.
Hmm. Hmm.
So at that time, I don't know what there was. I think I might have done some like online workshops was about it. But back then, especially in Nevada,
You're
yeah,
saying online. There was no online.
yeah, there was just starting to get well, I don't know if it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't think I did anything.
Yeah, that's I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm thinking of my level one training and all that stuff. Yes, yes,
Yeah, that's what I'm
yes.
thinking. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even, I can't, I should
Yeah.
have some of those guys that like, Seagrave and V Hills, those guys who originated the level ones when it was TAC back in the
Oh
day.
yeah, yeah.
I'm more familiar with the guys that, Bushek Snyder and those guys that are
Sure.
doing it now that are writing up curriculum.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, I mean, like today, there's, I don't know, there's 20 or 30 level one classes.
Oh yeah.
That's just USATF. USTF CCCA has an amazing coaching education curriculum. Altus does an amazing, I mean, it's like I said,
Oh sure.
it's, it's easy in 2026
Oh
compared to
yeah, yeah.
back then
Back
where you had
then,
to
yeah.
find it. We
Yeah,
don't, there's no
yeah.
internet, so how do you even find it? Again, track and
Yeah.
field news, but we're pretty much track and field news was the internet of
Right,
track and
right.
field.
It was, yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of times I've heard of people in this era going to the library to get a book,
Mm-hmm.
microfiche, things like that. Anything like that?
Yes. Oh, I had the track and field omnibook. I don't know if you remember
Oh
that,
yeah,
the
of
really
course.
big.
Come on, man. That's the
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's how I got most of my
Yeah,
info
yeah,
back then.
yeah, yeah.
And so, I showed up. The wrestling coach got a hold of me and he said, "Hey, I want you to come by our last practice." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I cruised by and he told all the kids that I know some of you are playing softball or baseball, so that's great. Those are seniors. You guys don't count. Everybody else, you're going out for track.
Oh,
And he said, if you don't turn out for track, you will not be wrestling next year. And I
wow.
went, wow, that's something.
Yeah.
And we had the number 10 wrestling team in the nation. And
Oh.
so I thought, what am I going to do with these guys? So I took all the heavyweight guys and I had them throw.
Mm-hmm.
All the
Mm-hmm.
small guys, they're all sprinters.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, I mean, because this is a mining community,
Mm-hmm.
I threw them into the 800. I
Hmm.
mean, these guys would run until they dropped. And
Wow.
I thought, awesome. And so the first,
Awesome.
yeah, we had our first meeting. I had 75 boys show up. And this kid walks up to me. His name is Jesus Delamora. And I thought, wow, if you have Jesus on your team, you can't go wrong. And so he said, Coach, I can long jump, I can high jump, I can triple, I can run the four, I can run
Wow.
all the sprints. As long as you let me pole vault, I'll do whatever you want. And I
Oh.
said, oh, okay, good deal.
Hmm.
And sure enough, I mean, one of the toughest kids I've ever seen. Um, and
Wow.
we ended up placing fourth in state that year.
Hmm.
So we did pretty well, even though we
Mm-hmm.
got disqualified in the 4x4, and
Hmm.
it was a complete disaster.
Hmm.
Um, but it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. We had our first child, Liz and I did.
Oh.
Um, and then the grandmas were after us to move back up here. So we made the move up here. I got a job at Green Acres Junior High, which is in the Central Valley School District.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I would probably just coach again. But back then they had rules. You could not be a high school coach unless you taught in the high school. And
Oh.
so I tried, I coached 3 years of junior high track, and I have to hat off to all those junior high, middle school
Oh.
coaches. Oh my gosh. It was brutal. It wasn't for me. So I got out of that. I coached cross country for, I think, 7 or so years,
Mm-hmm.
junior high cross country. And then things started to loosen up, and it was harder to find coaches.
Hmm.
And Liz was already coaching south of Spokane at a small B school. And she asked me if I wanted to be her assistant. And so I said, great. And so I interviewed with the AD and the principal. And they gave me the job, and I said, "This is going to be awesome. I've never coached on a state championship team before." And oh, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. These girls, they've been favored to win state in basketball and volleyball for the last 4 years, and something always happens." And so they gave me this whole long story, and I walked out of there and I thought, God, I can't, even if they had their worst day, they're still going to win a state title because we had the state leader in the high jump, long jump, triple jump. We had
Oh.
1 and 2 in the discus and 1 and 4 in the
Oh, you're a
shot
powerhouse.
put. Yeah. And then we
Oh,
had #1 in the jab. And we had a girl that made the finals in both hurdles and a 4x4.
dude.
And yeah, and so our day one of the state track meet, we had a total collapse. And and this
No.
yeah, and so I thought, I walk on the bus day two, and this is how old this is. Two of the girls are reading newspapers. And so one of them goes, Coach, it says in the newspaper that we're still favored to win this meet. And I said, yeah, that's what I've been telling you. So we didn't have our best day, but we still won.
I have this like old timey the newspaper smoking their cigarettes because they know some things we did back in the day.
Yeah.
The newspaper says I mean, that line alone is amazing. The
Oh yeah.
newspaper says we have a shot. It's like, wait a minute, Instagram was supposed to tell you that or TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
So then it was traveling back from Spokane all the way down south. It was just brutal. It was a brutal year. So I decided, well, that's enough of a track for me. And then I think you know her, Linda Lanker.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
Linda. Yeah.
yeah. Coached at Valley Christian, and she said,
Yeah.
I've got this girl, Tiffany. You've got to coach her. She's just the sweetest girl." And Valley Christian is located in Spokane Valley, so I thought, okay, that's a little more doable. So
Mhm.
Linda talked me into coming out, and we won a state title again. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So,
I've known Linda. Linda's one of those people who's like, I don't know where I know her from.
uh,
Actually, I do. You know how I know Linda? We used to, back in the day, uh, I was running a, Gill Coach of the Year program, and it's actually the precursor to the USTFCA Coach of the Year program. And Linda got nominated several times, actually. And there was a line. I don't think she won, but there was a line from the one of the people that nominated her that was just one of the most amazing.
oh yeah,
If it weren't
yeah.
for Coach Lanker, this, I mean, just unbelievable. And I was like, man, she
Yeah.
needs to know this. And I ran into her. It was in Eugene.
Hmm.
Must have been the trials, either 08 or 12, and I don't know how I knew it was her. Maybe I just saw her. Maybe I think she saw my credential, and she goes, "Oh,
Hmm.
you're Mike Cunningham McGill," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, and she goes, Linda Lincoln. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like,
Hmm.
I just have to, like, it was just this chance. And I was like, I just have to tell you what one of the nominations, she was, tears, she was so happy. And,
Oh yeah.
now that I think about it, I'm glad that name came up. Now that I think about it, I tell people, this is my 20th year
Hmm.
at Gill. And, my first, and I would say, 5 to 10, I don't know the time frame. As a sales guy, I did my job. I tried to serve you and coaches around the country. And then about, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, well, about 15 years ago, I realized, oh, I used to think I should go back to coaching. I coached for 10 years.
Oh sure.
And after about 5 years in the job, it was like, oh, I affect kids way more now. Because if I take
Uh
care of Alan, well, Alan's got 100
oh
kids,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
times that by 100 coaches. I got, I have more. I remember one day I was like, I have a bigger influence on athletes now than I ever did. And I,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
coached, pretty high level. And then, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it changed from, oh, you know what? Instead of being a sales guy like everybody else is, what if I just say, I don't care if you buy from me or not. I'd like for you to because it, pays the
Hmm.
bills around here. But what if I just serve coaches, like just
Oh yeah.
completely love on them? And this is kind of hitting me in real time here, Alan. That conversation with Linda was a part of the puzzle because when
Oh.
I saw how it affected her, when I told her what this other person, I couldn't even remember the other person's name. I mean, I've got
Oh yeah,
hundreds
yeah,
of nominations. I couldn't remember all the nominees, nominers
yeah.
names. I couldn't even tell her the person. I just knew. I was like, oh, I remember them saying this about you, Linda, and like
Right.
it stuck with me, and I had to tell you and how that affected her. And
Oh
Linda's
yeah,
someone
yeah,
that a lot of people tell her that they love her because Linda's just a great
yeah,
person,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It stuck with me of like, wow. Like,
Oh,
first of all, selfishly, how good did that make me feel? Like being able to
uh-huh.
deliver that kind of good news, like
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
feel on cloud
yeah,
nine. More
yeah.
importantly, externally, holy cow, look at her. She
Oh
is
yeah,
over the moon. And
yeah.
that was a piece of this morphing of me of where, the podcast, social media,
Oh sure.
the hosting and MCing I do at meets or at clinics and now at meets coming up at the Under Armour Championships, things like that. That actually, I'm so glad you said that. Actually, that's such a great memory that I tucked
Yeah.
away and forgot that was that was a part of changing my life for the
Oh cool.
better. And now hopefully, it's led to where I've helped, positively impact other coaches out
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that just hit me
Oh
in kind
no,
of real
no,
time there
no.
with
I
Linda.
and I was super excited. I mean, she really
Yeah.
worked on me to try and get me to come out and
Yeah.
coach, and so I'm so glad that she did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and then the high school they decided to build two new high schools
Hmm.
and replace the old ones. They had been in existence since the 50s, and I thought there was a job that came open. I thought, oh, this great opportunity to move to the high school. It's going to be 9 through 12. This sounds super exciting.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I applied, got the job. I literally drive into the parking lot the first day, and there's one of my former students is standing there waiting for me. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And he walks up to me, he goes, Coach, are you going to be our new high jump coach? And I said, well, I'm pretty sure you have a high jump coach. And he goes, no, she left for another school. He goes, don't worry about it. I'll get you the job. And so, sure enough, at lunchtime, I'm at the copy machine, and Chuck Bowden, our current head coach, walks up to me, goes, hey, would you like to be our new high jump coach?
Wow.
And so that's how I got the job. Uh, yeah, David went on to lead the state in the high jump, and he went to BYU. He won seven
Wow.
of eight Mountain West championships.
Wow. Yeah,
Went to the
dude.
NCAA. So, yeah, so that's kind of where it
Dude.
started at Central Valley High School.
Well, Alan, let's take
Yeah.
a step up from like individual schools
Mhm.
and athletes and stuff like that. You have, and because I want to lead into the book here in just a little bit, but where did, the track is such a fascinating sport. I just had this conversation on Twitter just the other day. What I love the most about track and field is it's the most inclusive sport out there. And much like
Right.
you, I played other sport. I was a football player.
Uh-huh.
I did tennis in middle school. I mean, I've done a bunch of other sports, a few other sports because I didn't do. I did fifth grade baseball and was
Mm.
terrible. Zero batting. Yeah, baseball was not for me. And basketball, I think I liked basketball, but never
Yeah.
tried out. Like I knew I wasn't going to be good enough to make the team, but
Oh
uh,
yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah.
so I know other sports, but track and field, white, black, brown, that doesn't matter. Male, female, doesn't matter. Tall,
Right.
short, skinny, big, doesn't matter. There is a place for everyone to achieve some form of success. That doesn't mean we're all going to be state
Right.
championships,
Right.
national qualifiers, etc. But you can become a better shot putter if you go listen to
Yes.
coach and work on the shot put. You can become a
Yeah.
better miler if you listen to coach and focus and practice in the mile. You can walk away from your career, high school, whatever, and be like,
Mhm.
wow, yeah, I didn't qualify for state, but boy, I had a good time.
Oh yeah.
I started out as an 8 minute miler, got down to 5 minute. That's success.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
what work
Yeah.
is. We're not, here at Gill, we're not going to be IBM and Apple. So
Right.
we're not successful. No, we're in successful as being the largest in this industry. So what made you coached a lot of different events.
Yes.
Heck, you started as a shot putter who understood to
Yeah.
use your legs. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, why did you pick the high jump to be more focused on?
That's pretty easy. I jumped against some of the greatest high jumpers of, they're still in the top 50 in the world all time. And I was not that gifted. I could kind of compete with them if the weather was nasty and that kind of thing.
If they got hurt
They
the day before, I was in
yeah,
there, buddy.
yeah, yeah. And so I learned all these different techniques for me to be competitive with them. And so when I talk to athletes and they say, I just can't jump up long enough, how do I hold it? I know exactly what they're talking about.
Hmm.
Somebody, I did a clinic one time for the high jump, and somebody asked me, how do you find high jumpers?
Hmm.
And I said, well, when the fire bell goes off, the last kid to leave the room, that's probably your high jumper. I look for the laid back, long and lanky kid
Mm.
that is fine with a B in his class. And boy, if they bring a lawn chair to the practice, you know you've got a high jumper.
Hmm.
And so,
Interesting.
so I mean, I talk the same language. I stumbled into the hammer also.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious. My older daughter wanted to throw the hammer. She was going to the Ironwood Throws Camp.
Great camp.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and so she said, "Hey, can we practice this before I go?" And I said, "Sure." I broke out the track and field Omnibook,
Hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's right.
and she
That's
called me
awesome.
and said, everything we did," and I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "It was all wrong. It was completely backwards." So, and I thought, and so she would really took to it, and I thought we gotta find some meets around here. There's meets on the other side of the state, and uh,
Right.
and so I got to check in with the WIA, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not an official event." And finally, I said, we go to these relay meets where they run the steeplechase." And they're like, "Yeah."
That's
I
not
said,
official. Yeah.
"Not official. Can we run the hammer?" And they're like, "Yeah, as long as you're safe. Yeah, knock yourself out."
Yeah.
And
Not literally.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And so we had this big relay meet that used to be held at Rogers High School in Spokane. And because their track was being redone, it was at Whitworth. And Whitworth has a hammer cage.
Hmm.
And so we threw the hammer there. We hosted some of our own meets. We have a 32-foot hammer cage at our school.
Hmm.
And so I'm very
Wow.
confident that nobody can throw over the top of it.
Yeah.
And so we started throwing. We've hosted this. There is a state championship, and which is hilarious because I get parents all the time. They're like, "This isn't an official WIA event," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, either is boys bowling, but when you get that state medal, everybody's excited. So
Yeah.
why not just go for it?"
Yeah.
And
I love, there's only one state that has it officially,
right.
University of Rhode Island. Rhode Island
Mhm.
has it for a state meet, which I love that the tiniest state is the most progressive in this
Oh
specific
yeah.
event. I love that. And then there is, and it's getting more, which is cool, but there are some traditional pockets for the hammer for high schoolers. So
Yes.
in the Atlanta area, Mike
Right.
Judge, they do a great job there. California has had a fairly long history of unofficial, culture.
Right. Right.
Washington has that
Yes.
history of like just guys
Yes.
that are passionate like you that are like, you know what? I know it's not an event for high school, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
this is an event. This is a fun, it's high jump is my favorite event to coach.
Mhm.
Hammer was and is my favorite event to watch. I used to go to
Oh yeah.
practice early every
Yeah.
day to watch the hammer throw. It's just so stinking neat.
Yeah.
Now Ohio is getting some things done. They've had some fight with the OSAA about
Mhm.
even allowing it to be unofficial, but they're getting a culture. Indiana is doing
Oh
some
yeah. Yeah.
unofficial.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you look at internationally. We used to be, really good. Lance Deal and those
Yeah.
guys
Oh yeah.
back then. Then we kind of went into this little valley, pun intended. And now we're getting a little bit better. Kidway was doing good. And
Right.
what's the guy who went to Princeton? Went to an
Oh,
Ivy League?
Rudy Winkler.
Rudy. Did you go to Princeton?
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Went to one of the Ivy.
Oh no, that's the other guy. Real tall guy.
Rudy's who I'm thinking of, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Rudy
Winkler. Yeah.
Winkler. And I thought, anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
doing well.
Connor
McCullough.
something. Yeah, McCullough.
Yep.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
and so so we've got these couple of guys and gals, heck,
Mm,
right here, Deanna Price, she's a volunteer coach at University of Illinois. She's amazing, obviously.
mm.
And I just think like, wow, out of 50 states, one is official. And
Oh yeah,
even though we
yeah,
do have some Washington, California, Ohio, Atlanta area doing it, that's this many. Like, man, look how much better we've gotten in javelin. And now we just crested over 25. I think we're at 26, 27 javelin states. We don't even have 50 for that, for crying out loud.
oh
Like,
yeah, yeah,
man, what if we had, give me 8 states, give
yeah.
me 10 states, how much better we would be. So I appreciate, just for the love of the event,
Oh yeah,
guys like you, and I know there's many, many others, including inside your state, and then of course other states, that it's a pure passion play, because there's no 10
oh yeah,
points at the
yeah,
state meet for you
yeah. Oh
in
yeah,
this. You're
yeah,
just doing it for the love of the event,
yeah,
man, and
yeah.
that's pretty stinking
Well, yeah,
cool.
it's a really cool technical event. They say it's one of the most difficult events out there. And so my older daughter ended up throwing at Spokane Community College, and
Yeah.
then my younger daughter won 2 state titles, and then she started at Idaho, went to WSU, and then did her master's
Wow.
at Washington through there also.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so and then like I said, we had bounced the state meet from back and forth either side of the state,
Hmm.
and so we hosted 5 in total, I think. Trey Knight through here, which
Yeah.
is hilarious because he would have broken the all-time national record at our school.
Mhm.
It went out of bounds by about 5 feet.
Uh,
But we measured it later. It was
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
263 or something. So,
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So,
So, when did you write the book? First of all, tell us the name of the book, because I mean, I know it's you hit the nose and all that kind of stuff for the event, but it's a really cool title. I love the
oh
title.
yeah, yeah, it's time to raise the bar.
Time to raise the bar.
Yeah.
Tell me, it's 2026 today. What year? Let's start with this. What year did it publish?
Oh, I think it published in 20 right after the pandemic. I
So
mean,
20,
yeah.
how long, when did you start writing it? Because I know those are two different dates.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What year?
I wrote this story about this shot putter I had. We had a trophy. We got our first trophy at Cusick, so back in the 80s. And we were in this meet and we had an opportunity to get second place in the meet if we ran a 4x4.
Hmm.
But we were out of guys. We didn't have enough. So our
Mm-hmm.
shot putter, went on to throw at state, he said, "Hey, I'll step up and I'll do it."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, Gary, I just want you to jog around it. We just need the points."
Hmm.
And he didn't do that. He just went full out. And so we got a trophy, but the teams that were supposed to be first and second, there was an argument, and the little guy got broken off the top. And so anyhow, I ended up buying a duplicate trophy because they were supposed to send the trophy to us.
Hmm.
The guy that was the meet director that was supposed to ended up going to prison. So I thought, I'm never getting the trophy.
Yeah, yeah, you're not getting that one,
Yeah.
buddy.
So I bought my own trophy. I wrote the story up. I sent it to the school, and so I would imagine they still have it.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the chapters in the book. And the book is not necessarily all about high jumpers,
Oh,
but
is
it's
it not? Okay, I thought it was
yeah.
high jump.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, okay, okay,
it's
okay.
about inspirational kids that I've coached over the
I
years.
love it even more now.
Yeah,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
and it's always, when you're at a track meet and somebody sees something just crazy, and somebody always says somebody should write that in a book because nobody's going to believe it.
Yeah.
I did. And
What's
so,
your favorite story? So it's a collection of stories of,
it is.
yeah. What's your absolute like you were like, oh, like because maybe when you wrote that trophy story, which that's a cool story. I do like that
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
You didn't necessarily, I'm imagining you didn't necessarily write that going, oh, I'm going to keep a collection of stories for the next 20 years and then publish a
yeah,
book. It was just a
yeah,
story. It needed to be told, so you did it. And
yeah,
eventually at some point you're like, I've got some other stories that are pretty cool. That
yeah,
would make a neat
yeah,
little thing. So what was one that you were like, oh yeah, no doubt
yeah,
this is going
yeah.
in the book?
No doubt. There's a chapter called Winnemucca Juan. It's about this kid named Juan Alcaraz. And I noticed every time I told the story to my athletes, they were just locked in to what I was saying, every word that came out of my mouth. And then people would stop me at the store years later and say, I remember that story. And it's about this kid I had in my class as a freshman. He was not a bad kid. He was just obnoxious. Failed all his classes.
Mm.
And it's like I said, our school was moving to the large school, so we were having to pick up additional sports.
Hmm.
And there's a time period to do that. And so he comes by, mid year and says, "Hey, are we going to have soccer? I want to play soccer." And I said, "Well, the school board voted on it. I'm not going to do it until maybe next year, maybe the year after." So he was all kind of pissy, and off he went. And so it comes by the next year. He's back in my class, still failing my class. He's failing all his classes. And I find out Juan does not speak real good English, and he can hardly read. And I was like, oh, just, but he's back in my class, and he asked me the same thing. Are we going to have soccer? No, Juan. And so he leaves. But then he comes back and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to turn out for track." And I had that sinking feeling in my stomach. And I said, "You know who the track coach is?" And he goes, "You are." And and then I realized, wait a minute, he's failing all his classes. He can't come out for a track. And I
Uh,
said, "Juan, you've got to pass all your classes." And he walks right up to me, looks me like dead in the eye, and he says, "If I wanted to, I could pass them all with B's." So what a teacher should never do, I just started laughing. I fell off my chair.
Alan, jeez.
And, and he
Thanks for
was,
setting it up. Like, I should not have done this,
yeah.
but I did.
And so he was really pissed at me, and so off he went. So next day I come into class and he's in the front row. And he's got a pocket protector jam full of pins. And he's got his book. And I thought, I didn't even know he had a book. And so I go, "Juan, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm here to learn." And the entire class burst out laughing.
They were allowed
And
to. You were not
yeah,
Mr. Wordsworth.
yeah. And so anyhow, I thought, well, if he's kind of motivated, even if I get a day or two out of him, it's gonna be great.
Right.
And so as teachers, we used to get this paper that came around that showed all the kids that were failing classes. Well, he had six of them.
Mm.
And so all of a sudden, he's passing a class. And I thought, that's crazy. And then he's passing another class. Then he's passing my class. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go to this special ed meeting for him. They've decided to take him out of special ed because he can read. And so I go to my distance coach, and I say, which is his science teacher, still the one class he's passing, and I tell him Juan's coming out for track, and he goes, "I'm going to kill him." And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I told my wife, we're gonna lose our job because our science teacher is gonna kill one of my athletes. So Juan comes out. We go to our first big meet. And he's running the 16 and 32. And he's watching the 800. And he's watching these guys and he's like, "Hey, I could win those boys. Look at that. They're so slow." And I'm like, "Juan, you can't be in the 800. You're running the 16 and 32." And he just keeps pestering me over and over. And finally I said, "Hey, see that guy? He's the meet director. If he'll let you in, you can run it." And so he literally goes and asks this guy at the urinal in the bathroom. And classic. And the meet director is so pissed at me, he threatens not to let us come back. But he let Juan run the 800. And
Wow.
so Juan is just in my ear talking and talking and talking. And then the girls coach goes, "Hey, Juan, I think that's your race." And he goes running over, can't get his sweats off fast enough, and he misses the race.
Oh,
And
jeez.
he's just wandering around. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. And so he runs the 16, and I noticed every time he cruised past one of our kids that was cheering for him, he would just kind of surge forward. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. So when the 32 came around, I just put our kids all over the place. And he got a fourth place in this big meet. And
Wow.
he got a medal. He took it home. I
Nice.
said, "Hey, Juan, what'd your mom say?" And he goes, I don't know what's wrong with my mom. She was crying. She said it was the first thing, the only thing I'd ever achieved in my life. So I was like, oh my gosh. And so he really took to our senior distance guy, and they kind of chummed around, and he was really getting into it. And to go at regionals that year to go to state, he was just kind of running erratically around the track. And everybody was like, what the heck is he doing? And then one of the coaches goes, he's trying to hide from everybody else so they don't see him. And they took the top two to state. And then all of a sudden, our guy is running down the straightaway. Juan sneaks right up on him. As he turns around, kind of looks over his left shoulder. Juan runs right by him. And the
Wow.
two of them run all the way to the finish line. And it's a photo finish.
Holy
And
cow.
Juan got knocked out. But the cool thing is he ended up going to state and placing the next year, and he ended up going to a community college and running. So yeah,
Wow.
I think that's the one of the cooler stories in my
What
book.
I mean, you talk about from the beginning of this podcast to today to now of sport being a motivator
Oh
academically
yeah.
here because that was you. It was like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Alan, like you ain't playing basketball, brother. Like you failing at all. Well,
Oh
fine, I'll
yeah.
show you then. I'll just I will do all my grades.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always amazed at track and field coaches and I love my college. That's where I did the majority of my career. But our high school coaches have a big place in my heart because, yes, you're coaching track and field, and that's amazing. But you're a
Mm.
teacher. 9 times out of
Oh
ten,
yeah.
they're a
Yeah.
teacher, and that's amazing. I'm thinking about, a good friend of ours up at East Kentwood High School up in Michigan just wrote a book. Dave Emiott just wrote a really good book and he talked about it's very similar esque in the regards to
Mm.
like it's about servant leadership, transformational leadership, and it's centered around stories of the athletes that he's had
Right,
throughout the years,
right.
and based on him growing up and basically going to jail and not looking so good when he was young and got it turned around. At least you didn't go to jail, Alan. You
Oh
just got
yeah,
bad grades. Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah.
But he talked about like how hard it was. Like he thought writing a book. I think we interviewed him at the USTF CCCA convention, and he said something like, I put it all together. I spent all this time writing. I really buckled down and wrote all these stories, and I
Uh,
handed it to my publisher, and I was so like, oh, it's over. I did it. And they're
yeah.
like, no, like, first of all, you got to cut out 4 stories. You got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, oh, I had so much more work to do. What's the hardest part? You got all these ideas in your head. You got some things on paper. What's the actual like to get over the hump to the finish line? What's some of the harder parts out there?
Yeah, I think just putting it all together and getting it to kind of flow from one story to another,
Hmm.
because in my case, they're all different little stories. Um, and some of it is, heavily high jump-y,
Sure.
but the bulk of it is, these stories, but trying to get it to kind of all flow together and
Hmm.
telling my story kind of along with
Hmm. Hmm.
all these kids that I've coached over the years. And then our head coach, I got to give a shout out to him, Chuck Bowden.
Hmm.
His primary goal has always been to build boys into men. And so I get a lot of inspiration from him,
Hmm.
and his work he does with the kids. So,
Yeah. Did
yeah.
you, Dave talked about one of the harder parts was there was like 4 or 5 stories that they said, hey, you got to take these out,
Oh,
these,
yeah.
whether they don't
Yeah.
fit or, and he was like, man, those are my
Yeah.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
how do I choose? Did you have to cut out a story that was like, oh my God, how do I not put
Yeah.
Sally in there? That's a great story, or
Yeah,
whatnot.
I ended up because I thought I was kind of diving into the high jump part of it a little too much,
Hmm.
taking that
Hmm.
big chunk out. So my latest version I
Yeah.
updated in 2025.
Hmm.
It's a little more refined and
Yeah.
it's a little easier read.
You,
Plus,
you you could
I make
probably
all my
take some of that extra
uh,
with the regular part of the high jump and add more and make just a high jumping one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I've thought about it, which is
yeah,
kind of funny. Also, a shout out to my wife.
yeah.
She ended up coaching at University of High School, which is it's our rival school.
Hmm.
And so when I first started at CV, we had 1,400 kids, and then it grew to about 2,600.
Holy.
Oh yeah, and then we added another high school. Dropped down to about 1,400 again. Now we're at about 1,100 students.
Mm.
But the crazy thing is, my wife was primarily a throws coach, but being the head coach, she had plenty of throws coaches, so she ended up having to coach the high jump,
Hmm.
which is hilarious because you can't imagine the conversations around the dinner table.
Yeah.
Plus, my older daughter went with her to University High School, and my younger daughter went with me to Central Valley High School.
There's like a mini civil war.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, and then the hilarious thing is she coached a kid, Noah Martin, that went 7'3", and went to the Olympic trials as a high schooler. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and so
Dude, that's a
yeah.
fraternity of nobody. Come on.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, no, it is wild.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
and the funny thing is Noah became, I think he's a chemical engineer these days, and she's a science teacher. So they absolutely had, this
Yeah.
connection. They could talk to each other. I had a kid named Max Sykes, who was more of an artist. He brought his beach chair to the track meet, and so we were kind of always on the same
Hmm.
level.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, there was another kid I had as a freshman, Jacoby Ford, who jumped 6'7" as a freshman. So that whole group of kids all went to school together, and competed against each other.
Hmm. Hmm.
So pretty exciting time around here in
That's
the
amazing.
high jump. Yeah.
What would you, and there's many ways to publish, here's how I know it's not that hard to publish a book. And I'm
Uh,
not saying that in any denigration. I wrote a book before I moved here to Gill, kind of my transformation from coaching track and field to becoming a professional poker player. It was really more of a anthem of like, don't do this, boys and girls.
oh yeah.
Back then, everybody was moving to Vegas to play poker for a living. Of like, don't do it. Stay in your day
Uh,
job. You do not want to do this. But I self-published, so I don't,
oh
so
yeah.
there's many avenues.
Right.
In fact, it is hard to write a book and get it published. I do
Right.
like the actual
Right.
publisher stuff is hard to get someone. You got to be a salesman yourself. You got to sell up that
Mhm.
this is a viable product for them
Oh yeah. Yeah.
through what you're doing. But what would you recommend? I just here's what I know. I know there are coaches listening right now that are like, man, I would love to put, even if it's like I'd love to put together. I know I have it in my head because I've coached at this high school for 30
Mhm.
years, 35 years. I could put together like a history of track and field and or athletics for this school, but man, why would I do,
Oh sure.
not me. Who am I? What would you recommend someone's first steps? Obviously, they have to have an idea and even maybe a little kindling that they want to write a book.
Oh
What would be
yeah.
the
Yeah.
first steps to maybe
The approach that I took, well, I also used to be a photography and video production teacher. When I moved to the high school, I kind of got out of that, all the industrial classes, and dove into the computer stuff. So I
mm,
was pretty familiar.
hmm.
I ended up using iBooks on at the Apple platform,
Hmm.
and you're able to publish it directly. And my
Yeah.
market was my athletes because I wanted them to be able to read the story because I make all my high
Hmm.
jumpers
Hmm.
download it. And
Yeah.
it's a free download, by the way.
Hmm.
So they can just grab it, read it on their phone. I kind of figured nobody really wants the book except for a few copies that I wanted,
Right, right, right.
to throw on the coffee table type
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I thought, my audience is eventually going to be just the kid that uses their phone, and that was
Yeah.
an easy way to kind of self-publish it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for me.
I didn't
So
know about
it,
that. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a pretty slick way to do it.
Yeah.
Plus, it had the pages, the margins, it had all that kind of
Right.
pre-set up.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah.
I initially tried to do it, that was kind of a problem because it just didn't work in the various
Yep,
sizes of
same. I
books.
remember working through that
Yeah,
part of it. Yeah, yeah,
yep,
yeah. It was almost like
yeah.
the writing was the easier part, and that probably tells you the quality of the writing. Since I, of all people, said the writing was the easy part,
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't. But
yeah,
I do remember all the chaptering and
yep,
the layout of the pages. I was like, man, this just isn't. Yeah, yeah, it was not as.
yeah.
And I did this back in '05, yeah,
Oh
'04 or
sure.
'05. So technology's gotten way better,
Oh
obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if right now someone's listening and says, "Hey, yeah, that's awesome, you guys. Would you guys shut up and tell me where I can get this freaking book? I want to go read it. What's the best place for people? How do they
Oh,
go?
it's you'll have to use an Apple platform.
Okay. Hmm.
So you just go to books, search. It's time to raise the bar.
Okay.
Can't miss it. Does have a like a purplish blue high
Yep.
jumper on the
Right.
front cover.
So it's that
Does
easy.
have,
Like literally, just
yeah,
go to the Books app.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah. I always like to joke. It's hilarious because the jumper on there is me, except the picture, it was always I always had my arm like sticking up really weird.
Mhm.
So I photoshopped myself and fixed my arm.
Oh my God. Did you stay a right foot takeoff the whole
Oh
time?
yeah,
Oh
I
my
did.
God. That was the worst, man. I swear to God. I was not good enough to, I could do it all on the left foot. And then it's like I had that one goofy right footer. And I was like, I don't know, man. Just whatever I say, you insert right or left, or inverse
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alan, man, thank you so much. This was a blast. I am really enamored by your story. It really is interesting to me. Like I love these, one of my favorite, I was a comic book collector back in the day, and even in today's movies and stuff, my favorite comic books and my favorite issues and my favorite episodes, movies today are the origin story. So how
Oh
Captain
yeah,
America
yeah.
got his
Sure.
powers, how Spider-Man became Spider-Man, Batman, etc. And so I really, one of the parts that I enjoy about this podcast is the high school time and like, trying to pick out like, oh yeah, of course you were going to be a coach. Look at you. Again, I'm enamored by that part where you went to the shot put. First of all, you didn't know shot put. You're like, what's
Yeah.
going on over here? You had really smart guys. You said these guys all went to become engineers, lawyers. I mean,
Yeah,
so it's not
yeah,
like it's just a bunch of meatheads over there. You
yeah,
guys were very intelligent, and you had the thought of like, oh, okay, I'm not great upper body. Well, let's use the legs more, and then go out
yeah,
and throw farther. Like that to me, like that is if you talk about nature versus nurture of how you become a track and field coach, it's a combination of both. But boy, there is some nature there
oh
of
yeah,
like, oh yeah, you could see some things a little bit more natural and how the body moves and how it's supposed to accomplish whatever task
oh
that's getting
yeah,
done. So
yeah.
I just thought that was absolutely fascinating. I really did enjoy that. And thanks for writing a book, man. Like I said, I
Oh yeah,
highly encourage. I wish our people did more of this. It's one of the reasons we started the Gill 1918 project.
sure. Oh
The
yeah,
self-recorded ones. It's
yeah,
I'm very passionate about helping coaches literally find their voice. And I know sometimes it can be scary to get up on stage and do 45 minutes at a track clinic. And I highly suggest you guys work towards that as well. But maybe the Gill 1918 project is a way to do that,
oh yeah,
to kind of ease into it, step into it, get your toes wet, if you will. And
right.
who knows, maybe that becomes a book idea for you or article,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
harder. It's harder and harder to do articles nowadays, unfortunately. But
yeah, yeah,
there's other blogs and things that are still out there. But I'm so glad you did it. I'm proud of you because it's not easy, especially for an old shop teacher. I
yeah.
totally thought you were going to tell me you're an English teacher. So this is even better that you that you got challenged one day because another shop teacher was like, "Oh yeah, I learned my computer's flight simulator from that guy." And you're like, "Oh crap, I better learn it then." I just think
Yeah,
that's really
yeah,
neat, man.
yeah.
Really cool. Well, Alan, the most expensive thing you can give me is your time, brother, and I really appreciate it, man. This time flew by. This time flew by for me really fast. Like I was like,
Oh, that's
"Holy
good.
cow, we are
Great.
there, buddy." You've got practice, I've got meetings and stuff, but man, I'm just so grateful for you to join us and really appreciative of your time today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. That was really fun.
Absolutely, and thanks for I forgot to tell you this before we hit record. Thanks for your flexibility with the time. I just
Oh yeah.
like I said, sometimes I have control of my time, and other times people have control of my time.
Yeah.
And you have control of your time, and you chose to spend it with us, Alan and I here. And so I'm just so grateful again for you pressing play today. I always tell people, when we're setting up these interviews, it's not an easy podcast to record, right? I ask for 2 hours of their time, and me, I always go over. We're at 2 hours and five total for Alan here today, and I know it's not an easy podcast to listen to as well. It's an hour 40, hour and 50 total runtime, and so you may have to take several trips to the office to listen to it, or a long bus ride to your track meet. But here's the reason why we do it: because our guest, and therefore you, other track and field coaches, you deserve it. Your story, your journey matters. The positive impact that you make on young people matters, and you can't get that done. Can you imagine trying to get Alan's story into 30 minutes? It's impossible. It wouldn't have done the story right. And so I'm just so proud that people trust me to be able to sit down with me for a couple hours. And I appreciate you guys and gals trusting us to listen to the show. So thanks again for being here this week. Join us next week. We'll do it all over again. See you guys.